Good morning, class, students. Again, your professor Ravik Birla is among with you all to take up the session for the topic business environment. I hope you all must be little bit now familiar with the subject business environment. We have so far taken up multiple things which have given you the overview about this subject. And referring to the previous session, we have studied about the business, about the environment, about the business environment, then what are their impacts, what is the nature, and many more things. Importantly, we had even covered about the business environment as classified into two types, internal and external environment, in which we had seen about the internal environment earlier. And also we have so far started with the external environment, which is further divided into two parts. The first part is called macro environment and the second is called as the macro environment. Today we will be covering of those things. We will be going ahead again, covering the initial part of the macro environment, finishing the macro environment, and then completing our content for the macro environment, which acts as a foundation and the pillar for the business environment subject. So moving ahead, you can see the content for today's class. We will be focusing about the business, then we will be focusing about the constraints of the business environment. We will see in detail about the micro environment, and also we will see in detail about the macro environment, that is the external and macro environment. So in this slide, which we had seen earlier also in our previous classes, it is a very important slide and a very important image in which we can see very clearly that the business environment is divided into two different zones or two different areas, verticals. The first vertical represents the internal environment and the second vertical represents the external environment. So far we have seen and we have covered up the syllabus related to the internal environment, in which we have seen about the human resource, the role of human resource or the HR in the internal environment. Then we have seen about the IR or the international relationships, internal relationships. The role of company image, the role of management structure, the physical assets, R&D, technological parts, capabilities, marketing resources, and the financial factors. All represents their internal environment. Furthermore, when we discuss about the external environment is further divided into two parts. First is called macro environment and the second environment. The first is macro and the second is macro. Now, when we talk about the macro environment represents 3-4 things which are being covered under the umbrella of macro environment. Micro and macro, as the name says, both are representing collectively the external environment. An external environment is that environment which is not directly under the control of the organization directly. But again, depending on whether it is a micro or a macro, they play an important role. When we talk about the macro environment includes the role of consumer, customers, competitors, supply chain, logistics, intermediaries, and the public. Even the financiers, and many more things are also covered under this part. Now, when we talk about the macro environment represents the role of various factors which are purely beyond the control of the organization. When we talk about the macro environment represents the economical factor, it represents political and the government factors, it even represents the demographic factors, the socio-cultural factors, the international factors, and the natural factors. These are all part of the macro environment. So moving further, when we talk about, I had taken up this slide earlier also, but just in order to make a small connection, these two slides will be again taken up for you. The first slide is over here. In this, we will be discussing about the macro environment, the role of macro environment with respect to the suppliers. How the supplier is very important when we discuss about the macro environment and what role the supplier plays when we study the subject called business environment. See, the suppliers are those people who supply the raw materials, unfinished goods, or even the intermediate goods, or anything which help the company to produce or to trade. These suppliers can control the organizational day-to-day processes of things in the following ways. The first way is by impacting the supply of goods and services. The supply provides necessary raw material, components, and services that the business need to produce to their products or to deliver their services. The quality, availability, and the price of these supplies directly impact the business ability to operate efficiently and effectively in order to meet the customer demands. With respect to the second part represents the cost. The cost and the pricing strategies given by the suppliers. The cost and the pricing strategy represents the overall cost that organization takes up. If there is any change in suppliers' cost, then it will directly impact the business strategies. The organization has to rethink about their pricing structures, about their marketing process, about their pricing policies for the products. And the change in the supplier's price impacts the profit margin, the revenues, even many more things in this competitive world. Thus, this competitive pricing enables the business to maintain the stable cost structure and the pricing strategies. Very, very important part in the supply side is the quality control. Quality is something which represents the quality of the material or the quality of the components which are provided by the suppliers. Since it is a global market, competitive market, there are multiple suppliers, so multiple people selling the same article, same type of article. And the customer wants the best product with respect to the price they have spent for their things. So if the suppliers adhere to their quality or ensure that the products to the customers are satisfied. In case if they are poor quality supplied by the suppliers, which may further lead to the defective product or may impact the organizational image. Even in many cases, there is a provision of return of the product under the return policy, or warranty and guarantee support is there, which will impact the organizational finances and also the goodwill and image of the organization. Therefore, remember, this again plays a very important role in the organizational part. Next is about the innovation and the development. Innovation means something new which comes up. So organization there are multiple things. Various suppliers, they take up various sources of information from various customers, market, through competitors, or either related to the new material, new technologies, new product, new market, which if being provided or supplied information is being transmitted to the team timely, it will help in opening the new avenues for the organization. It can be related either to the production processes, it can be related to the other marketing process, it can be related to the royalties or supply chain management things. Thus, innovation and development is directly linked with this information which is transmitted by the supplier through the channel partners or through various things, which if being properly studied can give a very strong information for various development and innovation in the organization. The next is about the reliability and the timeliness. See, the reliability of the supplier in terms of delivery of the times and consistency affects the business ability to meet its own production schedules and the customer's delivery promises. Either delay or inconsistency from the suppliers can disrupt the entire supply chain, which lead to the production halts, stock outs, and the customer dissatisfaction. Now remember, when we talk about the external part, in fact, this content needs to be over in the previous slide. External macro environment includes supplier, customers, competitor, marketing, and intermediaries, which we have discussed over there. Now, into the supplier, the next part over here includes this supplier's relationship with the supplier and the negotiations they are taking up. See, maintaining a very good relationship with the supplier is the utmost requirement for a company. Because suppliers are those people who give a regular and a very strong supply to the plant. Either for any reason, if the supplier stops giving the supply of the raw material, it will halt the production process. And if the production processes are halted or they stops, imagine the level of loss the company is going to bear it. There will be no things, or there will be delay in production, there will be delay in sales, even the competitors will take the lead in the market, chances of loss of the customers of the market is very high, and also the profits and the revenues are impacted very strong. And thus, in order to avoid such delays, it is very important to ensure that the suppliers are very punctual. We have a very strong professional relationship with them. They deliver the things as per our quantity, as per our quality, as per our time, as per our convenience, at the right time, right place, and at right time. Thus, this suppliers relationship plays a very important role into the business macro environment. Next place is a risk management. Risk is something which represents the role a supplier takes in terms of the businesses. See, suppliers take the risk management strategy by diversifying the suppliers. We are by selecting multiple suppliers, we are able to mitigate the risk related to our supply chain disruptions, and also because of various instability either related to the geopolitical reasons or it may be due to the natural disasters or some other reasons. Therefore, careful selection of the suppliers and mitigating their risk by diversifying our suppliers helps in making our business operations more effective. Next important parameter is the sustainability and the ethical practices. Sustainability and the ethical practices represents that supplier influence the business sustainability and practices very strongly. Businesses these days are very strongly focusing on those practices which will help them to lead the organization for a long time or very long time. And additionally, they are also checking for all those things, all those ethical practices either related to their labor condition or to the environmental impact or even to other reasons. Thus, as a supplier, we have to ensure that the supplier provide all those things which are as per the legal, ethical, and also under the framework of the country you are working for. And any deviation or any changes in the supplier's part with respect to these things will impact the business operational part very strongly. Next is market intelligence. Remember, market and intelligence are two different words, but we have connected those two words together. Market represents a place where buyers and sellers meet, interact, or they exchange their goods, articles for any reasons. And intelligence basically represents the way of analyzing, diagnosing those things. So market intelligence represents that suppliers can provide valuable information about the market insights by using various technologies, by analyzing various competitor activities, or also by suggesting various market changes which can lead the businesses very strongly and help the organization to stay connected or to stay ahead. Last is the role of supplier with respect to the flexibility and customization. See, flexibility represents the way the manufacturer or the business organization wants their product. That is called customization. And when we talk about the flexibility represents their ability to get the things as per their own convenience, as per their own requirement. Either it can be scaling of the production, or lowering the production, or getting the value things more quickly, or many more things. This flexibility in the business represents the market demand changes with respect to the things very effectively. And thus supply directly or indirectly impact all those things very strongly. Next slide over here discuss about the role of customers in the business organization. Remember, role of customers. Customers are the epicenter of any organization. Customers or the consumers are those people around which the entire business rotates. They are those people behind which the organization works. Thus, the customers are the pivotal element of the macro environment in the business settings, which directly influence the company's operations, strategies, and success. Customer plays a critical role in shaping the business strategies, operations, and also the overall success. Their needs, preferences, and behavior influence every aspect of the production, business, and many more things. Either it can be related to the pricing, it can be related to the packaging, it can be even related to the customer services, it can be even related to the the product utility or the product operational parts, anything. So customer is a thing on which the entire business rotates. Remember, building a strong customer relationship and understanding their impact on the macro environment is very essential when you talk about the sustained business growth and the competitiveness. Now remember how the customer impact the businesses can be discussed through these bullets which you can see on the screen. On the screen, the first part represents the demand and the revenue generation. See, the customer is directly impacting the revenue and the demand of the organization. More the product is in demand, more the product is liked by the customers, more it is preferred or more it is recommended by the customers, better and higher are the chances of its sales, which will further increase the revenue, profit, and also the monetary benefits for the company. Every organization, they focus on increasing their customer database by various schemes, policies. It can be referral, it can be loyalty, it can be any other mechanism these days. Loyal customers and also add up their revenues. The second part will represent the feedback. Feedback represents a strong word. Feedback is basically a reversal process. Feedback is always for those services which are being offered to the customer by the company. That feedback, if it is given timely and taken by the company seriously, will give the organization a very strong edge. Because these are those customers who are actually utilizing or using those services. And if they give the positive feedback, it is good. If they give the negative feedback, the company has to be very careful in improving those things for which the customer or the consumer is not happy. It is applicable to every sector. It can be related to the production sector, to the service sector, to the manufacturing sector, to the trading sector, anything. Everywhere the feedback plays a very important role or a scope of improvement. If the company has an option to clearly diagnose those feedback very clearly, then imagine multiple feedback by multiple customers gives us strong information which can be used either at the production side, with the sales side, with the marketing department, or even by the HR department in planning their further strategies. Third part will represent the influence of the market trends and the preferences. See, the influence of the market trend and the preferences are something which is again important. Any change in the market, any change in the trends by the market will impact the organizational growth. Customers change their purchasing pattern very quickly. You must have been listening or seeing that after a few months, again a new phone comes into the market and the people are crazy for that. A new movie releases almost these days within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and people are running behind the new movie, leaving behind the old movie. Same thing is for the car. Same thing is even for any item. It may be any FMCG related item. It may be any industrial item. Anything. That is during that time, during that era, during that period in a specific region. These trends vary from place to place, for product to product. For example, for a same product, for a same company, the preferences of the customer may differ in North India compared to that of South India. Their trend may change with respect to the Central India, with respect to the Northeast or the West India, or to the East India. These trends are very important elements which represent the market pattern for a product or to the services. And this represents the customer's liking and disliking for a specific product. So this trend and preferences influence the market a lot. Next important part is the loyal customers of the brand. They promote their advocacy. See, the customers, they promote their customers, they promote their things by being loyal because they also feel the ownership for their company. If, for example, we have seen the advertisement, I remember there is an advertisement in which there is a lady, they say they use the Colgate for generations. And they feel pride of it. And my grandmother used to use it, my mother used to use it, I'm using it, even my daughter or my son is using it. It is fourth generation we are seeing same trend in our house. Same thing happens to various things. Someone is loyal for a customer, or some customers are very loyal to their product, and they are ready to travel beyond their workplaces or their residential areas or their places to avail those services, products, or benefits. This and again signals the advocacy. Advocacy means they fight with some random public or the customers or someone else in case if they find that someone is saying negative for their product. This represents the role of customers for a specific organization for a specific product or services. If a customer is very loyal to the organization, customer is very happy with the product or services, they will even argue with some random people that yes, these things are good. And if they are happy, they will even recommend your product or services to someone else. Next important role is impact of the role of customers while having the impact into the business pricing strategies. This is a very important part and it has to be very carefully planned. See, the pricing represents the target audience. For example, Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce is a car. Again, it is a car. It is a mode of transport. Even Nano is a car. Is a mode of transport. And even Maruti Innova is a mode of transport. There are 2-3 cars that I just spoke in front of you, Jaguar or Porsche or even Rolls-Royce. They are a premium segment car which are above 1 crore. They have a different target audience. They are focused for very premium to highly premium customers. When compared to the normal cars, it may be Innova, it can be Brezza, it can be Nissan Sunny, it can be any other cars in the range of 12 lakhs to 20 lakhs, 24 lakhs. They are again for customers, but having high income group, not a very high, not premium, high income. Then the middle class cars, which ranges from 6-7 lakhs to 12 lakhs, and the lower cars, which are from 2 lakhs to 5-6-7 lakhs. Each car has their own pricing slab, each car has a different customer segment, each car has their own market, each car has their own preferences, likes and dislikes. Depending either the company is positioning them for a specific customer market or whether the customer is positioning to a specific product. That represents their pricing strategies. And that pricing strategy is directly impacting the customers a lot. Any change in the pricing will impact customer directly. It will impact the customer very directly. Next one here represents the customer demographics, behavior, preferences, that means the segmentation and the positioning. See, the segmentation and the positioning is something which represents how the customer they are being handled out demographically, which represents about their gender, about their age, about their language, about their likes, dislikes, about their culture and many more. Dividing and distribution the customer based on these things is again very important. Role of customer in the product development and innovation is something which I have discussed earlier also. Like the suppliers, they give the information, customers are the first person who give the information. They are the actual users, they are the actual consumers for the product or services. Any gaps if they identified, if they are being given strongly and those feedbacks are taken very strongly, will help in creating a new product, will help in getting the innovation, will help in making a better product for the organization. Next point in this represents the customer relationship management that is called CRM. CRM is something which is a very simple word but very strong. CRM represents that how you are handling your customers, how you are managing your customers, how you are taking your customers seriously or their information seriously. So CRM are basically the tools, those management, you can say weapons through which you can manage your customers, their information, their things through various database, various things. And these CRMs are managed through various softwares like SAP-based, ERP-based, or internal softwares, platforms through which the information for the customers are being stored. For example, I'm just giving this one example. You visit to Domino's, you visit to Pizza, you even visit to Big Bazaar, or you visit to Reliance. If you visited this one time, then your number is stored in their database. You keep on getting the alerts, you keep on getting the preferences, even if you're visiting to a good hospital or to a good doctor, they are having your all information in their records. Your things in their records is managed by the CRM database. They track about your things, they track about your activities, they track about your movements, and further based on those things, they advise you what will be good for you based on your preferences, natures, and things. Next into this represent the competitive advantage. See, competitive advantage is something which represents how the customers are being handled in this competitive world. If I am taking my customer on a very serious note and I am able to deliver a product or services which is better than compared to other people or other which are better than other people, then definitely remember I am giving my customer the edge by various competitors which are available for the same product or services. And once I am giving my customer the edge with respect to various competitors, remember my product or my services will automatically take the lead. So handling the customers with respect to the competitive part plays a very important role and gives us a very competitive advantage, because if more people are liking us, more people are happy with us, more people are supporting us or giving the advocacy to us, they are preferring us, it will automatically lead us, it will automatically give the competitive advantage to us. Next is impact of customers on the marketing and the sales strategies. Marketing and sales is something very, very critical. None of the thing can be informed to customer without the use of marketing. Sales is a part of marketing. And I'm sure you must have either studied or you will study this thing very clearly in separate from marketing. Sales is a very small part of marketing. Marketing is much beyond that. And marketing represents there are 4 P's called product, price, place, promotion. There are 4 P's of marketing. These 4 P's represent that none of the product can be available without the missing factor of any of these things. There should be a product. The product should have a price. The product should be available at a place, or it should be manufactured at a place. And lastly, there should be some logistics partner, or there should be some channel partners which should be over there. And the most important part, how you promote that thing. What are those tools through which you promote your things, which are called as 4 P's: product, price, place, and promotion. So product, price, place, and promotion, these marketing 4 P's and additional many more things are directly impacted by the marketing, are directly impacted by the marketing tools which are controlled by the information, which are controlled by the information which are given by the customers. Now, next important part over here is customer expectations with respect to the quality or scope of improvements. Remember, the customers are very, very careful these days. Customers are not into the monopolistic market. There are multiple buyers and multiple sellers. When I say multiple sellers, so if you make any strong mistake, any wrong conclusion, making a product or launching a product or marketing a product or customizing a product, it will directly give you a loss of customer. And loss of customer will impact in the loss of revenue, loss of goodwill, and even it will further impact your referral customers. Therefore, the customer's feedback gives you a very strong impact into the organization, and that strong impact will further give you a better quality and efficiency in the organization. Lastly, the role of customers when we talk with respect to the online and the digital online presence or the digital influence is very strong. Today, or not today, but these days we are in the era of social media. We are on the digital platforms. Remember, anytime you want to purchase anything from online, the first thing you refer is the product, and the second first thing before ordering you check the reviews. You see how the people are recommending their product. What are they liking and disliking for their product in the form of pros and cons for the features of the product. That thing again plays or controls your purchasing decisions. Those things impact your organizational ability to make the things with you or not. Thus, organizational strategies get influenced by the role of customers when they give the feedback, they give various things for the organization. Now, the role of micro environment with respect to the competitors, and when we talk about the competitors, we have to very carefully see about how those competitors play a very important role and why are they so important. See, competitors represent those people who are doing the business in the same vertical, same line, and these are those organizations operating in the same industry, same market, offering either similar or almost similar products or services. Their actions or strategies which directly influence the macro environment by creating the competition for the customers, by driving the innovation and affecting the pricing and the marketing decisions. Thus, an analysis of the competition is very critical for not only for evolving the competitive strategy but also for strengthening the firm's capability. Thus, there are many things which impact the competitors' role, which are impacted by the competitor, which are over here. For example, the first thing is competitor help us to identify the nature and intensity of the competition. We are working or we are doing our work at our own workplace, but the presence of the competitor help us to analyze the intensity of the competition either through their strategies, through their products, through their market size, through their volume, through their any other activities or any other presence, which help us to identify and understand our presence and their presence in our territory to our customers, in our verticals or to our products or services over there. Second part represents the role of competitor in analyzing the competitive analysis and the position. When I say the richest company or the top biggest companies, top five biggest companies in India, the first position goes to either Adani or to the Reliance. Sometimes Adani, sometimes Reliance, sometimes Adani, sometimes Reliance. It is not because that the Adani or the Reliance they have highest number of houses, flats, or highest number of manpower working for them, or they are doing maximum number of things at the same time. It is not. Just to inform you that Indian Railway is the highest Indian Railways has highest number of employees. Tata Group have highest number of verticals in their basket. But Reliance or Adani, they are said to be as the topmost company because based on the financial part. It is only and only the accounts which help them to identify that who is on the race and who is leading that race, who is on the position one, either Reliance or Adani. Now again, there are multiple, for example, just let us say FMCG sector. In FMCG, there is ITC, there is HUL, there is PNG, even there is Wipro, and there are many other companies who are dealing into the FMCG sector. In that FMCG sector, again, which brand, which company, which product, which service is leading depending upon product to product, service to service, things may vary. Thus, this competitive analysis and positioning is only and only possible when we make a very careful study of all our competitors. And those competitors, their balance sheets, their statements, their strategies, which are open and aware to all, help us to analyze about those things. Now, the influence of the market and the trends and the preferences again plays a very important role because the competitors are those people who are directly controlling the organization. Any change in the preferences with respect to the competitor, with respect to their trends, also impact our own organization. Now, the role of the substitute goods. Substitutes are those things which, for example, tea and a coffee. If I do not have a tea, I can look for the coffee. Similarly, for the cold drinks and the shakes, they can be substitute. Diesel and the petrol may be a substitute. Pen and the pencil can be a substitute. Those substitute goods again control the market a lot. These are those things which impact the organization, which control the organization, and which indirectly or directly control the organization. They also plays a vital role while making the careful strategies for our own product. Because any change in the substitute policy may impact the organization a lot. Now, very, very important point is a very important word is USP. USP represents unique selling proposition. Every person doing in the same particular same business must be having some unique thing for which they have been identified. That is their own USP. Why they can be different or how they can be different from others. This USP is very important and which can be only and only identified when we compare ourselves with others. Those areas where there is no competitor, sometimes it is very challenging for those companies to actually identify their own USPs. So USP is something which is important, which is very carefully planned out, very carefully executed, and it has to be updated based on the market feedback. Next over here is the competitor's response with respect to the firm's strategy. Competitors are very vigilant to their again competitors. If any change in my strategy, it will directly give the impact to the other competitors. I just give you a small example. For example, recently, first the Geo changed their tariff plans. Geo, that is a telecom giant, they changed their tariff plans. Within a day, the Airtel Vodafone Idea also announced to change their tariff plans. It is not that the Airtel is not looking to announce their change in the plan, but they know that Geo is a market leader with respect to the capability to control the market. There, they can sustain the losses or they can even look for various things. Therefore, once the Geo has created a change in the strategy, immediately the other telecom companies, either it is Vodafone, it is Idea, it is your Airtel, or it is BSNL, they immediately give change in their plans within a day or more. This shows how the competitors' strategies are controlled by change of the one, the other also change their policies. Then role of competitors with respect to their sales strategies and marketing strategies, no doubt there should not be any doubt. Competitors, even you go to any local market, any sabji wala, or even to the any if I just give you an example, let us say कोई सब्जी मंडी है, कोई फल मंडी है, कोई ऐसी लोकेशन है nearby to your place, in front of you there will be a roadside shopkeeper. You find if a person is moving with a cart, कोई ठेला लेके जा रहा है, and he changes the price of his product. Suddenly, the other person who is in the selling same article will also try to announce the product with the same price. That means their sales strategies get impacted because of the competitor strategy. Also, the marketing tools, marketing platforms, that is about the promotion, about their place, about their product innovations, about their pricing parts, also is controlled by the is also controlled, not only controlled, is also controlled as one of the reasons is the competitor part. Next is identifying the major rivals in the industry. Rivals are those people who are said to be the direct competitors. They are those people who are impacting our organization and our plot. These rivals are basically very strongly checked out in the organization because these rivals are not only impacting the organization revenues but also impacting the organization strategies. And through a very careful competitor analysis, we are able to identify our major immediate rivals and also our silent rivals who may or may not impact the organization. And the last is focus on the potential competitors. The potential competitors are those competitors who may in future become a competitor, who are right now maybe as a niche manufacturers or niche suppliers, but may have a potential to become our major competitors in the later future. Thus, the role of computers in all these plays a very important part. Now, the role of marketing intermediaries in the macro environment. Macro environment are those environment. Remember, macro environment represent those environment which may or may not be in direct control with the organization. But again, it may impact the organization strongly. Now, when I talk about the marketing intermediaries are basically those parties which assist the business in distributing their products on the market. Marketing intermediaries are usually distributors, retailers, and wholesalers, and they are very crucial for the business because they represent their product in marketplace. Marketing intermediaries are also major in determining the forces in the organization because many customers are unaware about the manufacture of the products, and since they approach to various channel partners, either it may be the retailers, stores, chain stores, online stores, for their purchase of the products. Thus, marketing intermediaries plays a very important role. Now, what are the things that a company get benefited through these marketing intermediaries? The first thing is about the information carrier. Information carrier represents the ability for the organization to transmit the information, ability of the carrier to transmit the information. Now, information carrier means any channel partner, either it may be a broker, it may be a retailer, it may be a wholesaler, it may be agent, or it may be any other part, who is there in the organization in the process, plays an important role of carrying the information. They take away the information based on their own capacity, and that capacity gives the very strong impact to the organization part. Second is about the communicating. Second part is about the communicating. In the communicating, as a communicating agent, this organization plays a very strong role when we talk about the communicating agent. See, the manufacturer is not going to the shop. People are not purchasing the things from the shop, from the manufacturer. They are usually purchasing the things. 99.9% things are being sold out or are being promoted out through the channel partners. These channel partners are marketing intermediaries which communicate on the behalf of the company. They become like a spoke to the organization. They promote the products, they take the guarantee, they even advertise the products, they even advise the customers, they even channelize the things and distribute and further create the market for the company. So these channel partners are very important communicating agent. They take the information both the way from the company to customer and from customer to company, and then allow those information to be utilized from both sides. Third, marketing intermediaries becomes a very strong platform for promotion. It can be any platform. It may be wholesaler, retailers, it can be channel partners, agents, brokers, or anything. These people promote the product at their own level and further create the market either for various reasons. It may be either because of the profit margins and feedbacks. Marketing intermediaries also act as a point of contact for any organization, for any product. Usually, remember, whenever you purchase any product, either it may be a tube light, fan, it may be car, or it may be even a pen, pencil, rubber, or it may be a pen drive, phone, mobile, laptop, TV, fridge, any appliance, anything. Then, even if it is a chips, cold drink, or anything, it is manufactured by someone. The manufacturing house may be at any part of the world or any part of the country. But if you find any defect in the organization, you go to the first place is the point of the contact through whom you have purchased it. So these marketing intermediaries act as a point of contact for the customers. The customers approach them, they study them, they study the product over there, and they raise up their queries through them. Next over here is the marketing intermediaries helps to analyze the market about their need and wants. See, need and want represents the desires the customer want or the market want, the desire the organization wants. And these need and wants are analyzed strongly by the marketing intermediaries because marketing intermediaries are the first point of contact with the customer. They are those people who are getting connected with your customers directly or through various channel partners directly. And their information, their feedback, their response is directly collected and transmitted back to the company carefully. Next over here is the customer feedback, which is extension to this same topic. Customer feedback represents the organizational response to the product or services. Either they are happy or unhappy. If they are happy, for what reasons that gives them satisfaction. If they are unhappy, then what are the challenges, how it can be improved or how it can be removed. And in case if they want to launch the product, same product, but in a new format, then what are those things? I'll give you a small example. For example, Amul, which deals into the dairy products, which supplies even Amul ice cream, Amul milk, Amul. For the commercial applications, you will find the milk may be available in the packing of 5 liters, 2 liters or more. But for the retail areas, it is usually in the packing of half liter or 1 liter. But if you visit to the slum areas or to the areas where there is low income group people staying, you may even find the packing of 300 ml, 400 ml, or 250 ml in that locality. So based on the market where the product is to be utilized, the companies are changing their production size, production volume, production packaging style, and many more things. This information is provided based on this part, feedback. And extension to this, which I discussed, either assembling, grading, packaging of the goods, is again extension to the same. For example, the manufacturer manufactures things, the wholesaler purchase or the agent purchase those things. They subdivide things based on the grades, the tire, or the quality of the things. They make the small packings, 5 kgs, 10 kgs. Then those packings are further purchased and further divided to the retailers. They sell it into the small volumes, either in the grams, half kg, 1 kg, or something like that. So this is called packaging and things which are done by the marketing intermediaries at various stages, various levels based on their position and to the level of market they are handling. Next over here is negotiator. As a negotiator or as a negotiation part is a very important tool the marketing intermediaries plays. Marketing intermediary plays a negotiator role because they are able to negotiate with customers, they are able to negotiate with the immediate next channel partners, and those negotiations helps the companies to get the profits or get the revenue. And the next is physical distribution. When we talk about the physical distribution basically represents the major responsibility a customer, the marketing intermediaries take up while transmitting the information, while transmitting the goods. They transfer the goods but not transfer the ownership. Remember this time. Marketing intermediaries transfer the goods but do not transfer the ownership. The ownership is only and only to the last consumer. The goods may be transferred from manufacturer to the agent, from agent to the wholesaler, from wholesaler to the retailer, from retailer to the sub-retailer or to the nearby shops, and finally to the customer. None of the people will open any carton or use anything. It is only the end customer who will basically utilize those things. So the ownership is transferred at the last stage, but the physical item is transferred at each stage, which is again important role in the marketing intermediaries. Then about the financing. See, financing is a tool which is not related to the market, but is a very important role when we talk about the channel partners or the marketing intermediaries. You take the example for anything, either it is a car you want to purchase, either it is a house you want to purchase, either it is a laptop or a phone you want to purchase, or even it may be anything. Nowadays, things are available on EMI financing or on various plans. You can take the vacations on EMI, you can purchase the house on EMI, you can even travel, you can even take the education on the loan. These all things are provided by various channel partners which are involved in the things because they want to increase their market, they want to increase their sales. And these sales are increased by offering the various financing schemes to the existing customers or to the potential customers. Next over here is risk. Risk represents the ability to anticipate the market well in advance. Risk is something which is everywhere when you are into the business. You do not know whether your product will be liked or disliked. You do not know how much volume of people will turn up tomorrow. How will the market behave? Is it good or bad? Is it correct or wrong? Is it in favor or unfavorable to you? If things are in favor to you, you may proceed luckily in the right way. If it is unfavorable to you, there will be losses or there will be challenges for you. Thus, this, despite of all such odds in and outs, these marketing intermediaries take one day their inventory will be sold out and they will gain the profit or the margins. But they do not know whether it will be good or bad. For example, many movies becomes a super hit, many movies becomes a super flop also. But the hall purchase the movie rights or the movie reels, theater rights with the anticipation that yes, it may be a hit movie also. Next is about the company analysis or the competitive analysis. Marketing intermediaries, they not only handle you, but they also handle many other brands, many other competitors together. Therefore, a person handling 4, 5, 6, 7 competitors together, they are able to analyze the things more carefully. They are the first genuine source of information when we talk about the competitor analysis. When we talk about the competitive environment, because these are those people who analyze the things with the role of microenvironment with respect to the public. See, public are those people who may or may not be their actual or potential customers. But these are those people who impact the organization very strongly by giving their own opinions, giving their own thoughts. Generally, these public are represented as a common man. Then these days, because of the presence of social media, because of the presence of online and digitalization, the role of public is very strong when we talk about the market. So organizations are affected by certain acts of these public depending upon their circumstances. For example, if a business unit is established in a particular locality which provide employment to the localities, at least to the unskilled labor with respect to the local group which may harm their business, then they will try to interrupt the functioning of the business. And thus the media public has to be taken into the confidence because sometimes they tarnish the image necessarily. Anyways, what is the more important part that the role of public with respect to their own feedback or the feedback given through the media to the common people by disseminating any vital information to the common people or to the potential audience plays a very important role when you talk about the microenvironment. And this thing can either create the image of the organization or even can spoil the image of the organization. Many organizations lost their businesses because of this reason. I'll give you an example. For example, Maggie. Maggie is a product of Nestle. Around 5-6 years back, if there was a research done by the government agency which says that into the Maggie there is a small component of lead or there is a specific component of lead which may impact the human brain, and people stop consuming that product. The impact was so strong that for entire 2 years, Maggie did not make any production. It wind up their businesses in India, not they close their factories, but they focus on the research. Now that Maggie is there in the market, which goes with a small line, very strong line that yes, there is a lead, so that no one can challenge it. And still, if you are purchasing, it is your own call, it is your own wish, but they are moving up with this strategy. Additionally, they are even saying that we have researched up and now we are improved version. We have so many more variants, so many more different nutrients, either it is calcium, sodium, potassium, or other things. So this is the role of information or role of media when we say how the businesses can be impacted. I have given you a small case study about the Nestle, Maggie. There are many such examples in the industry in the real world. So this is about the role of public and the macro environment. We are moving to the next part. We have so far studied about the macro environment. Now we are moving to the next important part, which is called as the macro environment. Macro environment is the last component or last variation when we study about the business environment. As I said, business environment is divided into two parts. The first part represents The first part represents their internal organizational, internal environment. This is the second part represents collectively macro and macro, which represent their external environment. So far, we have studied the role of macro environment, in which we have seen the role of suppliers, channel partners, customers, competitors, public, and many more things. Now, we will study the role of external, the last most layer, that is the external layer, which is even called as a macro environment. And that macro environment is something which is very important and carefully to be studied. See, this macro environment or the external macro environment refers to the broader factor and the forces. They represent a very broad, very aerial, and very large perspective. Those factors and those forces, remember those forces which impact the businesses. They are not normal forces, they are heavy forces. They are very heavy forces. They are not at all under the control of organization. And this is something, these factors are generally uncontrollable. They are not at all under the control of the organization. More importantly, they are neither under the control of any individual organization, neither under the group of organizations. And therefore, they are those factors which can impact the organizational performances, their strategies, their decisions, and even further their revenues, profit, loss in their presence. Thus, understanding the macro environment factor is very crucial when we talk about the businesses to adopt these strategies and to thrive. So now through this image, through this diagram, you can see various macro environments over here. The macro environment, we will be focusing on studying on which are there macro environments which include environmental factors, which include political, legal, technological, economical, social, cultural, demographical, global, and international. These are all those factors. Each factor plays a very important role, and we will be studying each factor very carefully in the slides. So now we talk about the first factor. The first factor over here is called as an economic factor. When we talk about the economic factor are those factors which is made up of. See, the economic environment is made up of number of elements which influence the state of economy. The economic environment represents multiple number of elements, many elements which are basically influenced by any state of economy as a whole, which may be including either the type of economy or the resources that are accessible or the income levels, or either due to the distribution of the wealth, or because of the various stages of the economic development or various economic policies and many more things. This economic environment is something which is a very critical and only is the monetary factor. Remember, all other macro environments are non-monetary in nature. It is the only factor which is monetary in nature. So this economic environment is something which is controlled by various reasons. For example, the state of economic growth. Recently, these days, we have been listening and hearing that India's GDP is increasing. India's GDP is booming. India's presence in the world is on a higher side. Companies are investing in India. Companies are liking Indian policies, Indian frameworks, Indian environment, and they are ready to enter into the Indian business market. This is basically the various policies which have been drafted by the government, by the state government, by various agencies which are in favor of the business houses or industries. And those policies or framework are impacting the organization strongly. Thus, overall growth rate of the economy affects the consumer spending, business investments, and overall market demand. When we talk about the inflation rate, the rate at which the prices of the goods and services impact the customer or the consumer purchasing power, and the business is also very strongly controlling the organization when we talk about the business or the economic environment. Because inflation is something which is impacting the individual's pocket. Either it is a person, it is a consumer, it is a customer, or even it is a company. Inflation represents the change in the price with respect to the previous year, previous quarter, or previous time. When we talk about the third important tool is the interest rate. Interest rate represents the cost of borrowing the money. You cannot start the business of your own. You need the suppliers to make those things. Basically, you need the finances to execute those things carefully. And those suppliers, those financiers are those persons whom you borrow the things. So borrowing and lending of the money is influenced by the investment decisions and overall economic activities. The fourth over here represents the exchange rate. Exchange rate is nothing but it represents the businesses which are involved in the international trade or there the rate of change in the exchanges impact their competitiveness and the profitability a lot. And there are many more factors which impact the business environment because of the economic environment. The second important word is the political environment. See, political is sometimes even said to be the political and legal. Usually, you will see that political and legal environment are collectively studied together. But I am trying to show or discuss the political separately and the legal separately. Whenever a business firm take the decisions or activities, their decisions or activities are first and foremost thing is strongly influenced by the political decisions or the political system or the ideological positions of the various political parties in their state, in their surrounding, in their country. If you have a stable government, if you have a strong government, if you have a visionary government, then definitely the vision of the government, the ability of the government will impact the organization strongly. So the businesses and the government are two most influential institutions in the society today, as mentioned by Demok. And he mentioned that the joint influence of the national public policies when they coverage whether in harmony or conflict both domestically and internationally impact the organizations at all. What are those factors which impact the organizational on the political side are discussed over here. For example, the stability of the government. If you are working in a country where you have a very turbulent government, for example, Pakistan. In Pakistan, you can see in last or basically the India and Pakistan, they become independent on the same day. But in that journey, we have seen that Pakistan hardly have a government which completed complete 5 years. Many times they have a military rule or they have unstable government or there are various things because of which things are in the wrong direction. Because of which neither of the any good company try to invest in the country, neither they have good manufacturing houses, neither there is a political stability, and because of which there is always fear of having new policies, new framework, new things. So remember, whenever there is a stable government or unstable government, it will impact the organization. It will impact by changing in the confidence and investment decisions in the organization. Second is about the government policies. Policies are basically the relaxation, taxation, and things which are impacting the policies with respect to the regulations, with respect to their taxation part, with respect to their incentives, or with respect to their trade tariffs, or with respect to their any GST parts, or any other parts. Policies, frameworks, guidelines, regulations, in fact, are decided by the government, the ministers, which are beyond the scope of the organization. But they have to obey and they have to follow those things. Change the rigidness or the flexibility or favoritism or unfavorism in this thing impact the organization directly and very strongly. Third is the legal framework. Legal part we'll discuss in the next slide, but still I'm discussing over here. The legal framework discusses about the laws which are related to the employment, which are related to the competition, which are related to the consumer protection law, and also to the intellectual property rights. Remember, there are various government agencies. For example, there is a one office there is in Delhi, which is called as a Competition Board of India. This Competition Board of India initially represents like it is like sports competition, but it is not a competition, sports competition. It represents the business competitions among the people. For example, Google and Apple, they both manufacture technological devices. Recently, there is a very high amount of fine which was laid on the Google or either on the Apple, I'm not sure about the name, because they used the product which was manufactured by some other company, which was trademarked by the other company, without their permission and information. So this competition mode of India basically ensures that they are saving the things as per the laws for the company which they are working for. And there are multiple frameworks. Right now, we can see various state governments and even the central government. They are taking up the frameworks. They are looking for the policies so that they can create the ease of business. This ease of business, that means creating a platform in which the companies can launch their product more easily, minimizing the documentation work, minimizing the approvals, is what it is basically creating that environment in which the businesses can flourish. Next, over here, even the role of political environment with respect to the belief in the government. How strongly you believe your government that they will think in favor of you, in favor of the country, in favor of the businesses. Then the strength, political strength of the country, relationship of that country with respect to the other country is again a very strong part. That if you are very extrovert country, if you have a good harmonious relationship with other big countries, definitely you have a scope of having better business relationships with other parts. Then the role of defense and the military policies is also a hidden parameter which impact the organizational political decisions. Then the relationship of the center and the state is very important. See, recently we have seen for last almost 5, 6, 7 years, the Bengal government led by Mamata Banerjee and the central government led by Narendra Modi, they have a very rift of each other. Same way, there are many other states, for example, Delhi AAP government and the ruling party, BJP, they again have a rift. So those things are taken into consideration when you want to launch a product or promote a product or to make a product available. Because ultimately, these, if you are in a Bengal and if you want to have some funds from the central, you have to take that might be the funds will not be granted easily. Because these two agencies or these two ruling parties are anti to each other. Compared to when we talk about the UP right now and the central government, that is both are controlled and those both are regulated by the same BJP and again by the two strong leaders. Then thinking opposition parties towards the business units is also a very important part. When we talk about the organizational, the political impact on the organization. Now, when we talk on the legal, see, legal represent the establishment of the legal and the regulatory framework of the government governing the company's operation, and it is mostly the responsibility of the government. The division of the legislative authority between the federal and the state government, such as directive principles of the state policy, fundamental rights included in the constitutional framework. And there are various legal frameworks which are shaped by a number of companies, which include, for example, Company Act, Contract Act, Industrial Development Regulation Acts, Foreign Exchange and Management Act, that is called FERA-FEMA, even SEBI, labor regulation, and many other laws and clauses which impact the organizational law. And these laws effectively control the business enterprises organization across different phases of life cycle. In nutshell, when we talk about these legal framework impact the organizational distribution part, they control the political part, they even control their pollution policies, they even control their licensing, they even control about their foreign investment, their import, export, public sector units, even control about the development into the various areas, either developed, underdeveloped areas, or many other things. Thus, ultimately, when we talk about the government policies, then the government policies are those things which either raise up the things, which discuss the things, and many more things. There are various agencies which are in India. If I talk about, there are various agencies which are created by government to plan out, which are created by government to plan out such things. For example, CI, that is called Confederation of Indian Industry, or FICCI, that is called Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, and many other groups which take care of the legal framework of various businesses. Now, how this legal framework impacts the organization? By creating the various environmental regulations. These regulations are basically the laws and the guidelines which impact the organization through the various environmental protections, through sustainability, through looking for the carbon emissions and pollutions and many more things. Also, these days, the impact of the climate change is also a very important parameter when we talk about the legal part. Because of the globalization, because of the climate change, people are always and always focusing on these things also. Now, the role of social and the cultural environment, the role of social and the cultural environment have a very big impact because it shows how the business activities operate in the society. Every society has its own distinct culture, which is called as its people culture. Also, that culture represents about the attitude, belief, habits, languages, and how the way they are involved in the culture. And if there is any cultural sensitive things are in the market, then they need to focus in delivering the things. For example, if I just use for example, on the occasion of Diwali, the market is filled with the items used in Diwali. On the occasion of Holi, the market is filled with Holi items. You have colors, you have gujia, you have even colorful caps, and many more things. And in the monsoon, you have umbrellas and raincoats. In the summers, you have AC and juices. This is how the social and the cultural impact the organization will take the advantage of these things. Now, this social and cultural impact is controlled by following things. It represents the demographic trends. Demographic represents about the population size, the age, distribution, ethnic composition, cultural diversity, and many more things. Second, it represents about the consumer preferences. When we talk about the consumer preferences, it discusses about the changing lifestyle, the values, and the attitudes. Even it discusses about how the products can be demanded and the marketing strategies. Then next, it discusses about the social responsibility. When we talk about social responsibility, it discusses about increasing the consumer and regulatory expectations of the businesses to operate ethically and sustainability. Thus, it influences are exercised by the social and cultural factors, not within the control of the business, is called as the social cultural environment. These factors includes many things, such as the way people work, their family system, caste system, religion, education, marriage, etc. Now, the next macro environment is the technology. It is called as a technological environment. Remember, if just I give you a small example. Remember, if you are still writing, if you are still using the Moorpunk, that is the peacock feather, to write, or if you are still working on the typewriter instead of cloud or smartphones or smart TVs or laptops, how your life would have been. If you are only having the typewriter, then again you have to have the document, instead you can't reprint it, you have to again type it. You can succeed only if you are moving with the technology. And that technological advancement is only and only possible if you are ready to take up those things with the open arm. So the knowledge of the equipment and the procedure used in manufacturing of the goods and services is encompassed by the technological environment. The design of the item is influenced by the variations in the technological environment across different nations. No nation or by no extension or no commercial enterprises can afford to continue using acquainted technologies, rapid improvements in the information technology or computer technology in the communication sector have a significant change in the worldwide landscape of the company's operation. Remember, businesses that adopt new technologies are usually slow with respect to their counterparts in the nation and eventually find it harder to compete in both domestic and foreign markets. Therefore, in order to stay more competitive and more prosperous in the fast-paced business world, companies must accept and incorporate the technology innovations. Now, when we talk about the various factors which impact the technological environment, the first is called technological advancement. The technological advancements represent the change in the technology which create the opportunities for the innovations, efficiencies, improvements in various products. These things, many times the companies have to change themselves. For example, machines which are more smart, they are using robotic machines, they are using various latest technologies. Because it is not because they wanted it, because their competitors are using, because it is a need of time. And this technological environment is something which is beyond the organization's control. They have to see and study the external world through which they can get better things in order to execute those things. Now, next is the digitalization. Digitalization basically represents the shift towards the digital platform, either it is because of the e-commerce or it is because of the data analytics or it is because of the various business models and the customer interactions. The people are getting more techno-savvy, people are getting more advanced, and people are using more such tools in order to execute those things. Then over here is the demographic environment. When we talk about the demographic environment represents the size and makeup of the population, which collectively represents about the demographic features. Each place, either any country, place, city, state, or anything, they have a different size in the country, and the population in that country, in that place, in that locality plays a very significant role when you talk about this part. When you talk about the domestic market, the population makeup ultimately defines the market actual size. And as a result, the variety of the demographic factors, which include the family size, life cycle, occupation, religion, nationality, as well as population size, growth rate, life expectancy, age, gender, distribution of the income, ethnicity, and even the distribution of the rural versus urban areas are important with respect for the businesses. So remember, the demographic factor plays a very strong role when you talk about the product with respect to the marketing, especially to the FMCG sector. And this demographic study is very carefully studied by the companies at each and every level. There are multiple agencies doing a lot of research in order to get the information for this demographic environment. Thus, the demographic landscape differs between nation to nation, even from area to area, within the same nation, within the same state, within the same district, within the same city also. Thus, what is demographic environment? It is basically nothing but it is a study of the population size, standard of living, growth, even age, sex composition, family size, income, education level, etc. And every business houses see various population and recognize various needs in order to produce the things accordingly. Now, last over here is the global environment. Global environment basically represents the, see, we have so far seen the economical, political, technical, sociological, many more things that function on various transnational, cross-cultural and cross-border scales. But all these things represents collectively, when we study collectively, represent the international environment, which is also called as a global environment. These elements have a very big influence on how the business operates. The global shift have a very significant impact on how the international environment is shaped. Geopolitical processes, economic interdependencies, cross-national cultural exchanges are those things which influence the global environment. And it is very essential for any companies doing business internationally to comprehend these factors to make some adjustments. This global environment is very important because of the first reason called globalization. Globalization means the more interconnectedness among the nations, among various economies, among various markets with respect to the trade, investment, and technology transfer. And the second is the role of global economic trends. The global economic trends represent the change in the economic developments, either because of the international trade, exchange rates, market opportunities. These global markets are studied using the study of global environment. Thus, how this global environment impacts this global environment is being studied through various blocks which are created by the in the various parts. For example, there is a European Union, OCI, that is called Organization for Economic Cooperation, ASEAN, that is called Association of Southeast Nations, and various other global commerce drivers which study and rate the impact of globalization across the nation. Even the impact of United Nations and the allied services in the United Nations is a very strong tool when you talk about the global environment. So global population, their trends, movements, international financial, technical analysis systems, legal systems, and many other elements play a very significant role when you talk about the business global environment. So this is all for the today's class. Thank you. I'm Vivek Birla, your faculty, coach, mentor from TMU, Tirthankar Mahabir University. You can check my details on this slide. In case for any queries, please get back to me. Thank you.